How's everybody doing? Sometimes I sit there and I answer my own questions, like why can't I seem to find me a young lady? And then I look in the video camera and I say, well, because you look like an unmade bed. And I had to really straighten myself up. Stuff was crooked, very unsoldierly like. I can only imagine my old sergeants or colonels.
This is not funny! You trap packages! I am reporting you to the HOA right now! You are getting fined, and I will press charges if this stained my car! Look at me! I am covered in blue dye because...
Stay woke on the streets, my bro, don't sleep.
Pretty much putting me down, saying, hey, your stuff is wrinkled, you look like an unmade bed, you need to hit the gym a little more there, chubby, certain things like that. And they're right. They're right on that wrong. I do need to hit that gym a little more. Got to get back to that stuff. But coming up very shortly, it's November, and November is about Thanksgiving, right? And towards the end, Christmas. And I want to get into great detail about some of the truths and some of the fibs of Thanksgiving. I've done this a couple times, and for those that are new, I'm going to give you some, good advice. I'm also going to give you some good details and good stories for those that are, they're return offenders. It's going to be a refresher, or maybe something you weren't listening to last time you'll pick up on and you'll be able to share with people. So there's... both of those advents that I will give you guys, and we will go from there. Now, let's talk about the natives. We'll start off with that. Now, if you are a native to Rhode Island, you will find out that there was actually quite a few tribes that were here, not just the Narragansetts. And I'm up in Newport, which had their very own tribe, and I will get into great detail about coming up very soon. But if we want to get into the friendliness of the natives, one of the most friendly natives actually was right here in Newport. And one of the first Europeans, an Italian gentleman, he was coming off the coast, and they were the first to greet him, pull him in. They actually did feed them.
What is a juggalo? Let me think for just a second. Oh, he gets butt naked, and he strolls down the avenue winking at everyone with a whole 2-liter tucked right between his cheeks. There we go.
Put him up for a little bit, kept him comfortable, and he was on his way. His coat of arms is up at Seekonk, on one of the rocks there. Sometimes I sit there and I wonder why the Italians don't use him as a source of pride over Christopher Columbus, because Christopher Columbus, as we all know, was a butcher and not a nice guy, not very intelligent at all. So I often wonder why they didn't use him. And he was one of the first to come in and basically deal with the natives being kind and friendly. This is way before the Pilgrims land here. By the way, this is in the 1500s. This is way before our settlement down in Virginia. It is actually documented as the first European visit to the East Coast, not the first European visit to the Americas. Keep that in mind, because the Europeans have been in the Americas since the early 1500s, and we would have to go back and talk about, if you're talking about America as a whole, they were in Arizona way before they were up in the northern end. That was the Spanish.
You see, people, studies have shown that the more you fuck around, the more you will indeed find out. It's so simple, a Neanderthal like yourself can understand it. Or maybe not.
And if you go into the French, they were in both Canada, into Vermont, into Maine, and also down in Florida, where they were constantly battling with the Spanish over control of that area. And the Spanish as well were down in the Floridian areas as well. Their village predates the good old-fashioned Pilgrims up here in Plymouth. and it predates anything that was in Virginia. So there's a lot of catch-22s when you talk about history in America and who was here first and whatnot, as far as it goes for the European nations. Now, that's not to say, now as a whole, the first people here were natives. And the natives came over from the Asian Peninsula, coming through the ice bridge. There are some speculations that there might have been humans here beforehand down in the southern parts of America. But if you go into great detail about, and we got to go into the science into this, not just the history, humans living on the northern continent part of America or the southern parts of America, we would have gone extinct real quickly. The animals over here were massive. The predators were massive. And America hasn't changed much from that. But the human race would not have been able to survive over there. That's why a lot of them started coming over during the Ice Age. Keep it in mind. The Ice Age, we have ourselves a land bridge that goes across. And a lot of the ice and permafrost is starting to defrost, giving us access to other areas. The animals are moving down south. They're not as big anymore, so the predators are starting to shrink in size. And they're not starting to be as many because, of course, the prey is starting to dwindle as well, the size of it and everything. So we come over here in a good time. The Americans, as we know it back then, we're going to say the natives and everything, would survive off of hunting stuff like bison and mammoths. And the natives, I would like to credit, actually, for causing the mammoths to go extinct. And as a whole, us, the Caucasians, the Europeans, and the natives almost caused the bison to go extinct. So that was one Ice Age animal that they definitely did cause to go extinct, was the mammoth. But it was a way of surviving. They needed it. Yes, it's horrible, but in hindsight, when you look at it, it's survival. It's survival of the fittest. And as far as keeping animals around and really having the ability to stop them from going extinct, preserving them was not a thing back then. It was more, like I said, survival. So I don't hate on them for that. It's what they did to get around. But that is a little short story about the natives aside here, with a long little trip on the other edge of it, going towards there. So if you ever want to talk about the first Europeans landing, again, you would have to go for the Italians. Were here first. And
introducing the new Hairy Pink Taco from Taco Bell, a bold pink shell loaded with seasoned beef, crisp lettuce, diced tomatoes, and shredded cheddar. Then we drench it in cool, creamy sour cream and crown it with long shreds of pink cheddar that float.
Prior to that, there is no real evidence of the Vikings being here other than ruins, which honestly, some of that people say they could be fibbed. Some of it looks legit, but we don't know. We don't know because unfortunately, records of the Vikings and everything were not held like they were for the Europeans. They weren't as well documented for that stuff. So that's not to say they weren't here. It's just saying, evidently, there's not enough evidence to support that they were here first. All right, guys, the one and only Captain Rendrag out there saying we're going to get into the truths and the fictions of Thanksgiving.
This orange bastard ain't no house pet. He's a fuzzy little demon. He's got claws like razor blades. He'll take your face off. He's a mean bastard. Oh, yeah. He's a nightmare with whiskers and a bloodthirst. Dig it? Yeah.